Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of Aaron Talks About Chinese Dramas. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about the drama Arsenal Military Academy. So I'm just going to be talking a little bit about the summary. So Arsenal Military Academy takes place in the early 20th century when China has found themselves in a long drawn out bloody conflict with the Japanese Imperial Army. China was drafting young men to defend the besieged northeast of the country. A young woman, Jia Jiang, had decided to sign up on behalf of her brother, who was unfortunately killed after trying to help someone on the way to the academy. So she decides to honor his memory and his wish to join the Chinese army. So she cuts off her hair and assumes her brother's identity. Due to her lighter and more slender frame, she struggled with the more physical activities at first, but eventually, due to her hard work and perseverance, soon paid off. So at the academy, she befriends the shy and gentle Shen Jun-san and comes in conflict with the rich kid Gu Yan Zhang, who she ends up sharing a room with. So as these friends grow in confidence and skill, they decide to take matters into their own hands in an attempt to foil the invading forces. So will they survive the bitter ravages of military conflict? The genre for the show it's a romance, historical, action, military drama. It has 48 episodes and the episode length is 45 minutes per episode. It aired between August 2019 and September 2019. So I just want to say stop here because there's going to be spoilers coming up. So if you don't want spoilers, then you should stop watching now. So the actors for these, I tried to find descriptions on these characters and couldn't find them. So the actors for these characters are Bai Lu as Zhai Xiang, Zhu Kai as Gu Yan Zhang, Li Chengbin as Shen Jusan, and Wu Jieyi as Chu Menting. So my thoughts on this show is I normally don't like or watch Republican style or air dramas, but I decided to watch because I like Zhu Kai and I like Bai Lu. Plus, I also like gender benders. So for anyone who's new to Chinese or even Korean dramas, a gender bender is when a woman disguises herself as a man or a man disguises himself as a woman. So there are definitely way more for a woman disguising herself as a man rather than a man disguising himself as a woman. The only one that I know of is a Korean drama called The Tale of Nakdu. So I'm also a sucker for a strong female lead. And Bai Lu as Ye Zhang is definitely that. She defies her parents and even societal norms at the time to fulfill her brother's dream after he had died. I think, I'm not sure if it's plot hole, but the one thing that I never really understood is that, she was supposed to go to an all-girls school. So I don't know if it was ever explained if her parents gave her the tuition directly, and that's how she paid for her tuition at the military academy, or whether they would have sent the tuition directly to the school, because the school never notified them to tell them that she wasn't showing up for classes. And they never, as far as I know, asked to see a report card, because if they'd done those things, she wouldn't have been able to keep it a secret that she wasn't showing up. Unless her friend knew about it. So I'm not sure how much. I know her friend was covering for her in classes, but I'm not sure if the friend was covering for her with the parents as well. because it never really goes into that. Also, I always find it funny because most women who disguise themselves as men aren't very masculine looking, at least not the ones in these dramas. I think there's only one drama. I think there's only one drama where I was convinced that she could have passed for a man, and that's because she was just very homely looking. And that's a Korean drama called Coffee Prince. So most of them look very feminine looking, and I'm always like, are you blind? Like, can you not see what's right in front of your face? Or maybe it just doesn't occur to them that a woman would do that, or want to do that, disguise herself as a man. So maybe that allows them to overlook what's right in front of their face. This allows, so they usually always seem to think, oh, he hasn't gone through puberty. That's why he doesn't have facial hair, or his voice hasn't changed yet. But most of these women, either playing adult men or men that should have already gone through puberty, at least like 17, 18, maybe their voice should have already changed already. So I just have to shake my head. So she disguises herself as her brother, and somehow, I can't remember how, is able to bypass the physical exam, because if she'd been gone through the physical exam, obviously they would have discovered right away she's a woman. And so she ends up sharing a room when she entered the academy with Ju Kai's character, Gu Yang-jung. He's a rich, spoiled kid, and he's not there because he wants to be there. He's there because his dad's forcing him to be there, in order to like curb his wild ways, because he likes to party and drink. Yeah, typical rich young kid. He's also the first to find out who she is, and I was always a bit surprised that he never said anything. He just kept it to himself, and he actually started to protect her when anyone was close to discovering who she was, or like that she wasn't a man. So I can't remember at what point he started to actually like her, because their relationship was very not complicated, almost like enemies to lovers, basically. Like, they first didn't get along, and he tried to make her life very difficult in the beginning. But once he started to like her, I started to get a bit annoyed, because he just made it more and more obvious that he liked her, and he didn't like bother to hide it. And like, there was one scene where he somehow got a piano outside and had it like surrounded by candles, and was playing like some romantic ballad. And I'm like, dude, like, that looks super odd in those times, because as far as everybody else knows, she's a guy, and you wouldn't want to make it super obvious if you liked a guy in those kind of times. And I kept thinking, like, do you want her to get caught? But eventually she does end up revealing herself. I can't remember if Japanese forces invaded the school, or there was like, the school went into lockdown and the rules became a lot stricter. And so they were, so yeah, I think it was like martial law in the school or something. And so they ended up in lockdown, and they were going to make everybody go through a physical exam again. And obviously, like, this time she wouldn't have been able to get out of it. And I think they would have tried protecting her, but she ended up just saying that she was a woman. And at that point, they just booted her out of the school, obviously. So, and then of course, you always have that one character who, I think he was resentful of her maybe, but he didn't like her. And he was always trying to like ferret out her secrets. He knew something was up, but he didn't know what it was. He was always like poking around, trying to, find out what her secret was. So I enjoy this drama, but there's nothing that really made it stand out much, or made me want to think about watching it again. It had typical kind of predictable plot, I guess, because it's a love story. So, you friend enemy to lovers. He ends up liking her, so they fall in love. And then there's a conflict with the Japanese, and then which was the Japanese occupation of China at the time. And they were successful in repelling the invading forces. And then they had a happy ending and they walked off into the sunset together. But I watched it once. I enjoyed it for the actors because I like Bai Lu and I like Shu Kai. And they've like acted together in other things and I've liked them, so they have good chemistry. So I would recommend watching it if you like these kind of dramas and giving it a try at least once. So in episode 3, I'm going to talk about Ashes of Love. If you want to be notified of any new episodes that I'm going to be uploading, hit the notification bell below. And if you like my videos, please subscribe. And thank you for watching my video.